Hey everybody, so this video today is about breakups, and my disclaimer, as I usually have one, is that I have been in 2 serious relationships in adulthood, one being a marriage and the other being a long-term relationship. So I'm definitely not an authority on relationships, but I have had my heart handed to me, and I know what it feels like to sit in that pain. So I'm making this video in hopes that maybe my experiences and what I know for sure may help you. So the first stage generally is that you go through denial, and it's important to know that the separation of, or breakup is a separation of, 2 people who were committed, obviously, but that tearing apart is like a death. It's like an emotional death, and the stages that you go through emotionally are very much like the stages that you go through emotionally when you are grieving someone who has passed away that you loved, or someone that was close to you. So it's important to kind of keep that in perspective when you are in the middle of a breakup. So the first stage is generally denial. And that denial stage is, kind of where your mind is trying to wrap around the fact that this has happened, and it's rejecting that information because, we were so close and we were so much in love and we had all these plans, and this can't be what's happening. Yeah, it is. This can't be what's happening, and it can't happen like this, and what is going on? And so your mind is like rejecting all of what you know, in an effort to figure out what the heck is going on. And that stage typically doesn't last forever because, if someone is avoiding you, or they're not texting you, they're not calling you, they're not responding to you, then they're making it implicitly clear that they've walked away from this relationship. The second stage, after the denial stage, is generally anger, and that stage can last forever. And it's important to know a couple of things so that you keep your perspective while you're in that anger stage. Number one, I think it's perfectly normal and natural to be angry, especially if you've been blindsided by some information, if you receive some adverse information about your relationship that caused the breakup, and you respond to it, and you're trying to figure out what happened, and it wounds you so deeply, and it becomes a traumatic event. And so your first reaction is to, what the heck? How could you do this to me? How could you do this? And I think that that's a normal response, but you have to understand that stage is so volatile, and you make some of the worst decisions when you are in the middle of anger. Trust me, I know. But you make some of the worst decisions, and you can run the risk of having it escalate very quickly. So it's important that when you're in the anger stage that you bring in the crazy. Just bring it in a little bit, just so that you can manage it, because most of us ain't got bail money to come and get you out because you've caught a case for felonious assault because you've gone up to somebody's house and you popped up at their place of employment trying to have a discussion. So you need to know that crazy needs to be contained, because if you don't, it will fester, and really, probably a topic for another video, that anger turned inward becomes bitterness. So ladies, for us, a lot of times when guys are saying that we're bitter, we probably are, but that's anger that we haven't dealt with, that we've internalized, and we've now allowed that to fester and to boil over, and we apply that unilaterally to other people. But that's another topic. The second the third stage after anger is the bargaining stage, and that's the stage that I affectionately refer to as the baby please, baby please stage. And that's the stage where maybe the anger has subsided and we're just left with this searing pain, and that pain is causing us to want to reach out to that person that left us, reach out to that person who decided that they wanted to walk away from the relationship, and help them to remember what they left. Here's the thing. That person has been in a relationship with you, so they are well aware of how you cook, what you look like, how thin you are, how smooth your skin is, how funny you are, how caring you are, how nurturing you are, how great in bed you are. They know all that stuff, and yet they still chose to walk away from you. And that is what is so disheartening about the bargaining stage, because when we're in the middle of that, and I'll be the first person to admit that I tried that with my ex. I was so desperately hurt that he would actually have the audacity to walk away. What are you doing? I thought the boy was having some kind of mental break, so I was trying to help him come to his senses. But here's the thing. He walked away from that situation of his own free will because he wanted to. There's no other reason other with them because he wanted to. He no longer wanted to be in a relationship with me. And I had to come to grips with that. And that was painful. That was a painful revelation. And when you're bargaining, when you are trying to get that person to come back to you, a couple of things you need to remember. Number one, it's beneath you. Ladies, guys, don't beg. Don't beg somebody for their love. Don't beg somebody to return to you. Don't lower yourself to try and get them to come back to you, because they knew exactly what they were leaving when they left. So if that's the case, and if they don't want that, you've now become scraps on the table, and you don't want to be somebody's scraps. That's my opinion. Number two, it gives up your power. You lose a little bit of yourself each and every time that you do that, and it takes so much work to reclaim that. So, keep your pride, keep your dignity. Know that that person is not crazy. That person is not, going through some kind of psychological break. They knew exactly what they were walking away from, and they still did it. Okay, so now we have to deal with that. So the bargaining stage, if you've gone through that, it's not an indictment, because like I said, I went through it too. You just realize on the other side what that appears as, and how devastating it is to you when you do that. And then after the bargaining stage is the depression stage. And this, like anger, is one of the most difficult stages to get through. And actually, depression is the flip side of anger. So depression is a very serious emotion, because it's all-consuming. It's painful to the point where you feel physical pain. It's debilitating. It prevents you from really and truly enjoying life, and it's dangerous. There are a lot of people who have committed very, very rash acts and have done some irreversible things to themselves and to other people in the midst of depression. So you have to be very, very careful with that. And there's no easy way to get through it, and there's no quick fixes for it. You just have to let your heart heal. But again, you have to be careful when you're in the middle of it, because most of the time you don't really realize how bad off you really are. And it's important to continue to live life and enjoy life and immerse yourself in things that bring you pleasure, and be with people who love you, so that you can begin to heal. And I remember, thinking that I was doing well, until one day, my oldest daughter came to me and she said, "Mommy, it looks like you just gave up." And I thought, I really thought that I was doing well. And that was really kind of the light that went on, that okay, I've given this guy enough of my heart, and enough of my tears, and enough of my life, and enough of, me being put on pause and hold. It's time for me to move on. And so, thank God for her, because I don't know, I'm hopeful that I would have eventually got myself together. But I don't know, it may have taken me a little bit longer if I had been left to my own devices. So just be very careful about depression. Know that you probably will go through it, and however you choose to get through it is, definitely unique to you, but try not to linger there. Try to know that, this pain and this heartache won't last forever. So whatever it is that you need to do in order to move past it will be definitely for your benefit. And then the last stage after depression, the sun comes out, and life is worth living again, and it's acceptance. And you just come to grips with the fact that this person is no longer in your life. This person has made a decision that, although it adversely impacted you, it definitely was probably for your benefit. Because if this person could not be loyal and committed, and they were not the person for you, and they've clearly demonstrated that they have no value for either the relationship or for you, good riddance. Good riddance to them. And I mean, and sometimes that's a very difficult thing to say, because you still care about that person, and you don't, really want to close that door. But it's important for you to do that, simply because holding that door open for somebody who voluntarily walked out of it is letting you be a revolving door. So at some point you have to say, you know what, whatever's going to be is going to be. That person decided that they wanted to vacate and they wanted to leave. That's their choice, and I'm going to continue to live, and I'm okay with that. And you will be such a better person for it. You will be better for the experience, because I'm convinced that our life lessons are not always the most pleasant, but they definitely serve to teach us something. And it's not always for us. Sometimes it's for other people who are having experiences, and we give them the gift and the knowledge that we have. And I'm going to end on this last note. if you are going through a breakup, or if you've had someone who was broken up with you and you are still in the middle of trying to come to grips with all that, and wherever you are in your 5 stages, it is never helpful for you to troll their social media profiles or their pages. Stay off of that. Because if they're posting pictures with their new boo, or they're happy with their boo, that is going to kill you, and that will set back your healing. That is one thing that I'm happy to report. I never do that because it's not helpful for me. It's not. It doesn't make me feel good. I will feel terrible if I went and I saw that, especially in the middle of trying to come to grips with what the hell did he just do to me. So yeah, just stay off of social media. Sometimes you have to take a sabbatical from all social media platforms just to get yourself together, just to bring some balance to the way that you think. All social media is not good social media. Sometimes people they be on some other stuff. So, sometimes you have to just bring things center, stay off of social media, stay off of, things that are going to be triggers for you, things that are going to throw you back into a place where you're ripping the scab off of a healing sore. Give yourself some time and some space. And who knows, maybe on the far future, you guys can be friends and you can talk about it or what have you, and you'll get some further resolve and closure, whatever. If that never happens, you still got to work on you, and you still have to make things happen for yourself. So, just be sensitive about that. Anyway, those are my thoughts about breakups. Leave your comments below. Put a thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye.